Welcome to Most Life, where we have weekly Mo Chats. Our Ahead of the Curve series is someone who's changing the world in their way, bringing new ideas, fresh perspective, and inspiration to you. We will bring new faces, fun chats, interesting ideas, the Most Life system here for you each week at Mo Chats. Enjoy this week.
Hello and welcome to my Most Life Ahead of the Curve series, where today we're actually flipping the camera and we're going to be speaking with Mo herself. My name is Nicole Zekes, and Mo has been a mentor of mine now for a couple of years, and it's a great honor to be able to be speaking with you today. As everyone knows, it's October and it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so we're flipping the camera so that you can talk to us a little bit about your story.
Yes, and I am happy to be here, Nicole, and I'm glad that you're the one doing the interview since I feel so comfortable with you, and you've been there.
Yes.
With me and with us as we've gone through this, so
yes,
this will be fun.
Yes, I'm excited. So, thinking back on your story, a couple of years ago, you were preparing for a full marathon with your sister. At the time, she had gone through a weight loss journey and you were being very supportive of her, as well as starting a brand new job at a national healthcare company. And you get the news that you have breast cancer. Right. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my sister, my littlest sister, one of six, she had said to me as she's going through her big weight loss journey, I really want to run a full marathon. Will you train with me and run it with me? Of course, I had to say, of course I will. Yeah. I was the runner in the family always, and she was a new runner, so I wanted to support her, and we agreed to run the marathon in Washington, D.C., the Marine Corps Marathon. We have a lot of family in that area. So we figured it would be a great family event, and we were full into our training. And I started a new job, like you had said. I started the new job between mammographies and ultrasounds, knowing that something may be going on, but like most women, when you have a positive mammogram, you're thinking they'll just keep doing their little tests and they'll figure out it's nothing. So you're always thinking, they just have to kind of go through their double check system and it'll just be nothing. Right. But there's this little voice in your head that's saying, well, maybe there's a chance. Started a new job, all gung-ho. It was a great job, great opportunity for me. Like you said, it was a national healthcare company. I was going to be involved in a lot of traveling around the country and that sort of thing. So here I am running, training for the marathon with my sister, having to fit in ultrasound appointments and then soon biopsy appointments.
Yeah, which is it's a full day appointment.
Yes. So I'm going to my new boss and I'm saying, hey, can I have a day off? I have some doctor's things I have to deal with. Of course, I didn't want to come right out and say what was going on with me because I'm brand new in this job and I didn't want to risk anything with my new job. So I told him I had a couple of doctor's appointments I needed to deal with. And then the second day, when the biopsy was, maybe there was more that they had to do. So the second biopsy appointment, I went to him and I said, a couple more doctor's things. I'm not sure what's kind of going on. I'll let you know. By the third one, I had to tell him what was going on. So I told him I had some biopsies for possible breast cancer and everything seemed to be going okay, and they just wanted to check one more thing. Right. So the one more thing ended up being the final call that no one wants to get.
I'm sure. It must have been a very, very scary experience for you.
I guess I just stopped short of telling you what the final call was. Because I guess we all know that final call was you have breast cancer, and the biopsies all came back positive in both breasts. And so I told my new boss that I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I wasn't sure what my treatment options were going to be, but I was going to have to pursue something. So it turned out that was around Rosh Hashanah. My partner's Jewish, and we were going to the family dinner, and I said, I don't want to talk about this with anyone. I want to pretend it hasn't existed yet. I haven't really kind of come to terms with what's going on yet. We don't really know what the options are, so let's not talk about it. So a day later, I'm on an airplane. It's October 1st, and this airline is all breast cancer, pink lemonade, and I'm just sitting there going, oh, jeez.
You have to face it at that point.
I had to, and I had to deal with it front and center. And my sister and I were in the peak of our training for this marathon, running long distances, and I had to go to a couple of different surgeons to determine what my treatment options were, and we finally decided, because lumpectomy in each breast was going to leave me with some limited reconstruction options. So it seemed like the best thing was to have a double mastectomy and do the reconstruction right there. And right here I seem to carry a little bit of extra weight on a regular basis, and thank goodness, because they were able to use that tissue, the skin and the tissue, to put into the breasts and reconstruct the breasts at the same time. So when I learned that that was basically the predominant option, I said to the doctors, okay, I guess this is what we need to do, but it's going to be after the marathon.
You were definitely keeping your promise to your sister.
I was, and I didn't want this to take over.
Right.
And I've spent enough conversations with several other women who have had the same experience. Like you want to deal with it, but you don't want it to consume your life or to take front stage if it's not what, you just don't, you want to live normal.
Understandably, you want to keep going. And
Yeah. So we scheduled the surgery for November. The marathon was at the end of October.
Okay.
And my sister and I ran it, and we had a big family event all about it. Of course, I'm all dressed in pink at this point with my pink ribbon around my neck and kind of a warrior running through the marathon. And my sister and I did a great job with the marathon, and it'll be something that we'll always have forever. And then 10 days later, going into surgery.
Wow. And that must have been an experience in itself. You had a double mastectomy, like you said.
Yes.
How was that recovery for you once the procedure was finished, or the reconstruction?
Yeah. So I was expecting to be out between 4 and 6 weeks. And as a matter of fact, one of the hallmarks to my journey through this whole process was actually getting my team together before I had to leave work. Rather than be kind of the buttoned-up executive who was saying, I'll be going for a medical leave and kind of not talk about it, I got my team together and I said, I'm going to be gone for 4 to 6 weeks. And I have breast cancer, and I'm going to have a double mastectomy. And I'm having reconstruction, so it's going to be a little bit of prolonged recovery for the surgery. I'm not sure if I'm going to have chemo or radiation, and we'll just see how that goes. And of course, I'm tearing up as I'm telling them this, because as I'm saying this, I'm also hearing myself saying what my fate is. And when you say it out loud, you're facing it. And so that was pretty powerful to sit there with them, and they just rallied around me. They hadn't known me for too long. I was there for about 2 months at this point. They hadn't known me for too long, and they rallied around me, and they were rooting for me.
Well, you have a great energy, so I can see why they wanted to rally around you. And you made it seem like you were a real person. You showed a side of yourself that I'm sure, as an executive and as a leader, allowed them to relate to you.
Yes, and it went a long way for the years that I was there. I was out for about 6 weeks, but I will tell you, just to kind of take a little path, my first year anniversary, I got the team together again and thanked them all for helping me through the year of recovery. It took about a year to really get myself back. A lot of upper body, abdominal stuff had to happen. I was in physical therapy for about 3 months, rehabbing with the lymph nodes that were taken out, and the arms needed to kind of readjust to not having as much lymph drainage going on. So about a year into it, I'm thinking, you know what, I really want to claim myself back. So my partner and I decided to run the New York City Marathon.
Which is amazing, and if I'm not mistaken, don't you have to get a bid to do that?
Yes. Well, you either go into the lottery, hopefully you'll get in, or you agree to raise a certain amount of money.
Okay.
So my partner got in on the lottery, and I said I'm going to raise money. So I raised money for a foundation, and it was a pretty high number that I had to get, but I figured I'm just going to go out and talk to people and say, I survived breast cancer, I'm raising money, I'm running the New York City Marathon, please support me. And I was pretty successful at getting a lot of donors for that. And we ran the New York City Marathon almost 2 years to the day
Wow.
of my surgery, because that's in November, and my
Mhm.
surgery was in November. And that was basically my claim to I'm back.
We'll talk about coming full circle, right? You started off with the marathon with your sister,
Right.
and now you're celebrating life and with your partner at another full marathon in
Right.
New York City.
Right.
That must have been such a powerful experience.
Big celebration, big celebration. And we ran it together step by step. I mean, every single step we did it together. And a lot of her family was there cheering us on. It was her first marathon. And so it was a fantastic experience to basically reclaim myself. Now that was 2 years after my surgery, and all the time I'm thinking something more is waiting for me to uncover for my life.
Right.
And I was a very successful healthcare executive and kind of caught up in being successful and doing what I knew how to do. I was a registered nurse by training, but mostly I spent my career in the healthcare business side of things. So there's always kind of this little voice saying there's something more for you, Maureen. And now I'm celebrating my 6th year this year of
Congratulations.
cancer-free / new life.
Yeah.
And so I decided after about 5.5 years that I needed to do something a little bit different and be a little bit more motivating and inspiring to as many people as I possibly can, not just to my teams at work. So Most Life was born out of that.
Yes, and I've seen you along this journey, even from before until now, and you're such an inspiration to everyone around you. Your energy is contagious. You are definitely a mentor to me, and you really are, I think, living your most life from breast cancer, just everyday life, the way you live your life with your partner. I think you're doing a fabulous job, so you should pat yourself on the back.
Thank you. You know, I've had a very strong interest in how do people succeed and how do people overcome difficulties, and how do some people just seem to always rise above, and some people struggle. Ever since I was younger, in college, I remember really being curious about that. And I just decided I was going to learn as much as I could about how to motivate people, how to inspire people, how to inspire myself, how to motivate myself, how to stay on track. I've always been a big goal setter.
Right.
I've always been interested in enjoying life and living to the fullest. As a nurse, I had lots of patients who were older and said, don't wait until you're old to enjoy your life. And those voices resonated, especially when I was dealing with breast cancer, to do what you can while you can and give it your all. And so I just decided I'm just going to keep pushing as much as I can into this life while I've got it to go.
Yeah, well, I think you're doing a great job so far, and
Thank you.
and you're celebrating 6 years
Yes.
of cancer-free, which is amazing. Obviously, with this month, it's definitely go out and go to
Yes.
your doctor, get checked out.
That's how I found out.
Yeah.
Screening mammography. I was a little bit late. I was probably about 18 months from my previous one. But it was through a regular screening mammography that this whole thing became uncovered. And I was caught early enough that my lymph nodes were not positive. And as much as I had to have this radical surgery, there was nothing more after that. Thank goodness.
Thank
a lot
God.
of people I know have been through massive doses of chemo and radiation. Several people who have gone to the same doctors I have had a little bit of a different course because they were caught later. And it is not a fun disease, so
No.
we're doing everything we can for awareness.
Yep.
Individuals learning about, screening and what this can be, and also living a healthy life, because that's the other part. Living healthier and cleaner so that the cancer cells don't grow in our bodies. That's the other part of Most Life.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your story and allowing us to turn the camera on you.
Thank you.
And as Mo would say, thanks for joining us at the Ahead of the Curve series, and go out and live your most life.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.